Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
First Lady Melania Trump made a very surprising announcement on October 10th, 2025. She revealed details about secret talks she had been having with Russian President Vladimir Putin. For the past 3 months, the First Lady worked quietly to help children affected by the ongoing conflict. These discussions were not public. Instead, they happened through special private communication channels, meaning talks outside normal government processes. The main goal of these efforts was to bring Ukrainian children who had been separated from their families because of the war back to their homes. This dedicated work resulted in a significant success. 8 Ukrainian children were safely reunited with their families. This was a critical moment for families waiting for their loved ones. This event marked a major breakthrough in a very difficult humanitarian crisis. Thousands of children have been impacted by the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The news from Melania Trump, speaking from the White House, changed how many people saw her important role in President Donald Trump's government and its foreign policy. She explained that she and President Putin had an open line to communicate about the welfare of these children. This first successful step offered a new path in a long-standing problem and brought much-needed hope to families across the region. It showed that humanitarian goals could be achieved through unusual means, even in tough political times. 2. The lost children. The war in Ukraine has caused a very serious problem for many children. Thousands of Ukrainian children have been taken from their homes and moved to Russia or areas controlled by Russia. Official records show that more than 19,000 children have been forcibly transferred. However, experts believe the real number is much higher, maybe as many as 35,000 young boys and girls. The Ukrainian government has a database called Children of War, listing over 19,000 individual cases. These children are often sent to different places, like camps, schools, or orphanages across Russia. There are over 200 such facilities documented. These places are spread across a very large area. In many of these facilities, children go through what is called re-education. This means they are taught Russian culture and language, and sometimes they are made to forget their Ukrainian identity. They might be given Russian names, learn only Russian, and sing Russian patriotic songs. Some facilities even give military training to children, teaching them about being soldiers even when they are as young as 8 years old. This teaches them to stop being Ukrainian. Taking children from one country and moving them to another like this is against international law. Experts say these actions are war crimes. The International Criminal Court has stated that unlawfully moving children from occupied parts of Ukraine to Russia is a war crime. Such actions against children, especially when they aim to destroy a group's identity, are also viewed as a form of genocide. It is a very serious crime because it hurts children and their families deeply. 3. A secret letter. The talks began with a secret letter. In August of 2025, First Lady Melania Trump wrote a special letter. She called it a peace letter. This letter was sent to Russian President Vladimir Putin. It was the first step in a new way to communicate. President Donald Trump himself delivered this letter. He gave it to President Putin during a big meeting in Alaska. This summit took place on August 15, 2025. It was held at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage. This meeting was the first time the two leaders had met since President Trump returned to office. It was also President Putin's first visit to a Western country since the war in Ukraine started. The meeting created an important chance for the letter to be given directly. In her letter, Mrs. Trump made a strong personal request. She asked President Putin to protect children. She wrote that such actions would serve humanity itself. This message was very personal and showed her care. It was not a typical diplomatic message from a government official. This made it different from normal talks between countries. President Putin's answer came as a big surprise. He wrote a reply to Mrs. Trump. In his letter, he showed he was willing to talk directly with her. He also included important details about Ukrainian children living in Russia. This written reply opened a direct way for them to talk. Mrs. Trump called it an open channel of communication. This direct line of contact continued for many months. It was an unusual way for a First Lady to talk with a foreign head of state, especially about such important humanitarian issues. This secret exchange set the stage for later actions. 4. Talking in secret. After Putin's unexpected letter, a new and secret kind of talks began. For 3 months, First Lady Melania Trump's team held private negotiations with President Putin's team. These discussions were not public. They happened through back-channel meetings, away from the usual government view. The main goal was to safely return Ukrainian children from Russia. This was a very hard task. One of the first steps was to choose which children could go home first. This selection was made with great care. It was important to pick cases that could show the process was possible and successful. Many difficult challenges had to be solved. The teams needed to confirm the identity of each child. This meant checking if it was truly the child their family was looking for. Then they had to verify the family connections, making sure the child would go back to their real parents or relatives. This part of checking was essential and took a lot of time. Then came the big problem of travel. Moving children from Russia across borders and into Ukraine was dangerous because of the ongoing conflict. Both teams had to work together to establish safe paths for travel. They also had to prepare all the necessary documents for the children. Getting these children safely through active war zones and arranging for them to be met in Ukraine required much planning and cooperation. These 3 months of secret talks were slow and demanded extraordinary coordination. This careful, quiet diplomacy laid the groundwork for a new way to help children caught in the conflict, aiming to reunite families. 5. A new diplomat. Melania Trump stepped into a surprising new role in foreign policy. This was not a usual job for a First Lady. Her direct talks with a foreign leader like President Putin were very uncommon. Many people did not expect her to become such an important diplomat. She was born Melania Knavs in 1970. Her childhood home was Sevnica, a small industrial town in Slovenia. At that time, Slovenia was part of communist Yugoslavia. This background gave her a special understanding of Eastern European countries. This knowledge might have helped her understand the complex situation and talk with Russian leaders. From a young age, Melania showed a calm and sensible way of dealing with people. Her old classmates remember her as someone who could bring people together. One friend said she was a good mediator, always trying to find compromises. This personal skill of finding common ground was very important in her difficult discussions with Russia. She had a patient and thoughtful approach. Being the First Lady gave her an advantage that a typical politician might not have had. She did not carry the same political weight or past problems as official government representatives. She could approach President Putin as a concerned mother. She spoke about universal human values, like the need to protect children. This personal appeal was different from usual government talks. It helped to open a direct line of communication with a focus on humanitarian goals. Her special position allowed her to put human lives first. She focused on returning children to their families, not on political arguments. This new way of doing diplomacy outside of traditional channels showed that different methods can work to help people. 6. A change in plans. Melania Trump's secret talks took place while the U.S. government's approach to the Ukraine war was developing. When Donald Trump became president again in January 2025, he had promised to end the conflict quickly. Initially, his administration thought Ukraine might need to agree to some territorial changes to achieve peace. This idea was strongly opposed by Ukraine, as it meant giving up land. However, President Trump's views began to change over time. By September 2025, his stance was very different. He believed that Russian President Vladimir Putin had not been honest in peace discussions. This led President Trump to declare on September 23 that Ukraine could, in fact, win all of Ukraine back, with strong support from NATO and its European partners. He described Russia as a paper tiger and mentioned Putin's big economic trouble. This marked a clear move away from his earlier, more accepting position towards Russia and towards stronger support for Ukraine. This new, stronger policy provided good support for Melania Trump's humanitarian diplomacy. It made it clear that helping children return home was part of a larger strategy, not a sign of weakness towards Moscow. At the same time, the Trump administration increased military aid to Ukraine. In July 2025, President Trump announced plans to greatly increase weapon supplies to European allies. These allies would then send the weapons to Ukraine. This combined approach showed how the administration aimed to balance giving strong military assistance to Ukraine with important humanitarian work, like bringing Ukrainian children back to their families, as part of its overall policy. 7. What people said. The world reacted strongly to the news. Everyone was surprised when Melania Trump shared her talks with President Putin. This news made many people around the world talk and think. In Ukraine, people felt hopeful but also careful. Officials in Ukraine were happy that some children could come home. They said thank you for the help. But they also reminded everyone that many thousands of children were still missing. Groups like Save Ukraine were glad for any child who returned, seeing it as a step forward. Other countries had different thoughts. Leaders in Europe gave some support to the humanitarian efforts. However, they also said that more must be done to make Russia answer for its actions. They meant that bringing children home was good, but it did not change everything about the war crimes. Some people did not like the secret talks. Critics said that talking to President Putin might make him look like a good leader. They worried this would make his actions seem okay in the eyes of the world. They remembered that an international court had accused him of war crimes, so talking to him was a big debate. People discussed if it was right to talk to a leader who was accused of such bad things. Some believed it was necessary to talk if it meant saving children. They felt that helping children was more important than not talking to Russia at all. Others worried about the bigger picture and what these talks meant for stopping the war and getting justice. It was a hard choice with many different opinions. 8. The end and the future. The return of 8 Ukrainian children marked a very important victory. First Lady Melania Trump shared this good news on October 10, 2025. She had worked secretly with Russian President Vladimir Putin for many months. This effort brought the children back to their families. It was a big step, showing that talking can help even during war. The First Lady's actions opened a direct way to speak with President Putin, creating an open line of communication. Still, many big problems remain. This humanitarian success was small compared to the whole crisis. Around 19,546 Ukrainian children are still in Russia or Russian-controlled areas. Some experts believe the real number might be much higher, possibly up to 35,000. These children are held in over 210 places across Russia. Many are taught to forget their Ukrainian background. Some even learn military skills. International law calls these actions war crimes, and President Putin has an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court for them. The challenge to help all these children is huge. This event shows a new way for diplomacy. It proved that focusing on humanitarian issues, like children's safety, can open talks even when countries are fighting. The First Lady, not a typical politician, played a special role. Her position allowed for conversations that regular government officials might not have had. This direct approach can be important for solving future global problems and gives hope that more children can find their way home. The open channel of communication could lead to more progress. However, the path ahead is not easy. Bringing back 8 children is very different from thousands. Many children have been away from their homes for a long time. Some have been placed with Russian families, making their return harder. Children who do return may also need much help for their minds and feelings. The goal is not just to return them, but to help them heal. This situation tests how the world deals with human suffering during wars. The First Lady has said new plans are being made to reunite more children very soon. This shows the important work will continue. This first success gives hope to many. But the large number of children still in Russia means much more effort is needed. The world will watch to see if this new diplomacy can help solve one of the war's most heartbreaking issues. Considering the many challenges, what do you think is the most important thing for everyone to focus on next to bring more children home?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.